Okay, welcome again. And we're going to work with um, foundation. So foundation being kind of standing postures, but really focusing a little bit more on the pelvis. So the pelvis is the hub, right? So anything that from the ground up, any energy coming from the legs up into the upper body and getting transferred, that happens in the pelvis. Anything coming movement from the trunk down into the legs that gets navigated through the pelvis. So we need to have our pelvis stable and strong, and it needs to be able to adapt to changing movement. And if you do observe any older folks in your life, you sometimes see where the lack of mobility is kind of from the center of their body, right? From the hub of the pelvis. So we'll start on our backs. I'll meet you on the mat. You need your strap and block, one block at least, maybe two, over at your mat. And we'll just begin by, let's begin with a little pendiculation. So stretching out long in a Tadasana shape, maybe arms over your head, could be at your side, but just pressing through one heel and then the opposite heel, and just invoking the yawn so that you can really just connect with your body as one whole unit. Just take a few minutes to feel your back body on the ground. I'm going to loosen up my feet a little bit while I'm here, just shaking the feet back and forth. And then soles of the feet to the floor. Knees up towards the ceiling and feet wide. And then your windshield wipers, just moving side to side and feeling the movement of your pelvis. So this will help us later on in the class. So as you move over to the left, right, the pelvis is going to shift. You're going to shift your whole pelvis right and left with the legs, right? So we want that movement, that shift, so that same thing will happen when we're in standing postures. The pelvis is lined up with the orientation of the legs, and in particular, the front leg in standing postures. Okay, and then just bring it in, come back to neutral, and just a few pelvic tilts. You can go forward and backward a few times, feeling the movement, the ease of movement in your pelvis. If you imagine you've got the clock face on your lower abdomen, then we can talk about 6 to 12 and then 3 to 9. 3 to 9. And then you can try the diagonal, 2 to 8, right? 10 to 4. And then circling, like you got a marble on your clock face, just circling in one direction. And circling in the opposite direction. And when you do the circling, see if you can do that without moving your knees. Both directions. Yeah. And then come back to neutral. And then this time, as you inhale and draw pubic bone away from navel, low back comes away from the floor. Exhale and come back towards the navel with your pubic bone, but then leave your low back pressing against the floor and take about 10 rounds of breath here. Just creating some more space in your low back. And that whole intersection, right, of the pelvis to the spine, the low back area tends to be problematic for a lot of us. So you want to create some more space in there, allow there to be some ease there. About halfway through now. So you don't have to be pressing down hard. Find your ease and your effort. Okay. Great. Then we let that go. And now you're going to need your block strap set up. So the block goes on the middle setting between your knees. Between your knees. And for me, it's easiest just to lift my knees up towards my chest. I'm going to put the strap around the block and around my knees. So the strap is making contact with the block. And then I'm going to tighten it up. So I've got my tail on the right side here, tighten it up. And then I'm going to set my feet back down to the floor. Your arms can be in any position. Now this is just a very easy effort, 20-30%. Squeeze the block between your knees and release. Squeeze the block and release. And do that maybe 6 times. Very little effort, 20-30%. So this could be a daily exercise if you have sacroiliac issues. It's a funny joint connection there, the sacroiliac joint, and it's kind of bumpy and lumpy, and so it can get off really easily. So after you've done 6 like that, now you press out against the strap and then release. Press out against the strap and then release that effort. 20-30%. One of these directions probably feels nicer to you than the other, or like you got this subtle realignment. So, of course, our bodies are always recalibrating, right? And when you come back to relaxing the last time, can you press into the block and out against the strap sort of at the same time? So pressing into the block and pressing out against the strap. And relax that. And again, so you're squeezing the block and you're pressing out against the strap. And release. Let's go one more time. Okay. Then from here, you could take the block out or leave it, doesn't matter. But we'll take our hands to the top of our shins and press into your hands. Press your knees into your hands and then release that effort. And again, 20-30%, press your knees into your hands, release the effort. Knees into hands, release the effort. That's 3. Let's do 3 more. Good. Now, once you've done 6, now shift your hands to the top of your thighs and press into your thighs, press back against your hands. Don't make it too hard, 20-30%, release. 20-30%, release. That's 3, so 3 more. Great. Now one hand stays there, the other hand to the top of the shin. And you'll press into the hand and press the hand into the thigh. So you're doing both. Oh, the cutest little hummingbird just landed right above my head. So tiny. Right release. So you're doing both actions, and then releasing. We'll do 6 times, and then we'll switch. So pressing your shin into your hand and your hand into your thigh. Hands are in the opposite orientation of one another. Once you've done 6, then switch it up. Okay. And then you can release the strap from the block. Just set your block over to the side. Take your feet back to the mat, nice and wide, and just let your knees go side to side again. Windshield wipers. Okay. Come back to center now. We'll work some of the musculature around the pelvis in the hips, right? So set your feet to the floor, nice and firm, arms alongside your body, and we'll do a series of bridge or bridge press ups, right? So pressing into your feet, draw your low back away from the floor slightly, so neutral spine, arms into the floor, and press up with the hips and down. And let's go 12 repetitions here. So engage the glutes, but don't over engage. And take your time coming down. It's also for the spine. We can roll out of this nice and slowly. But start to feel the work in the hips. Your chin tucked in towards your chest, towards your sternum, so the back of your neck stays long. I've lost count. I think that's probably about 10. If you're on to 12, you can take a break and do a figure 4. I think I'm probably about 12. So take a figure 4 on one side after you do your 12 and just pull your knees in towards your chest. Good minute here or so. Then take the other side. Okay. Then we'll come back to soles of the feet to the floor, but tuck your left foot in slightly. And you're just going to take your right foot and set it on your left leg. So left foot is in towards center. Robot arms, you just set your right foot on your right on your left thigh and then press up to bridge and down. And let's go 6 times this way. Now, if it's uncomfortable to have your foot there, you can just have your foot hovering as well. We're just working a one-legged bridge. Keep the chin tucked in towards the sternum. Back of the neck stays long. If 6 feels pretty good and you want to do a couple more, go for it. Then once you come down, we're going to switch. So right foot moves towards midline, left foot on the right thigh, and press up. And maybe you're going to notice, probably will notice a difference, right? One side maybe a little stronger than the other. And those are not motorcycles in the background. There's a, I think there's a tree service, a firewood company near here, and they're cutting up trees. The chainsaws are going. Okay, same thing here, 6 to 8, and then just stretch your butt, your legs long. Find Tadasana, toes towards shins, and slide one heel away, and then slide the other heel away. Okay. Now, place your hands on your hip pointers, the front of your pelvis there, and then both feet turn to the left, and notice what happens with your pelvis. And then relax back to center, and then turn both feet to the right, and let your pelvis do what it wants to do, which is to rotate, right, or to turn towards that direction. So go back and forth a few times slowly, and just feel how those two, the legs and the pelvis, are connected and going in the same direction. This is something we want to pay attention to in our standing postures. Okay. If you come back to Tadasana, in your mind's eye, can you line up the diaphragm in your throat, like the soft palate, line that up over your respiratory diaphragm, over your pelvic bowl, and then your legs, are lined up. Your feet would be right underneath your pelvic bowl. So I've got this on the floor, and just get a little mapping going. So really feel this in your body. Okay, feel this in your body. Great. Then let's just roll over to one side or rock up to a seat, and we'll go to table. We'll go to table and just take a few rounds of cat-cow. Great. And then we'll take the right knee and bring it in towards the chest and out and back around. So circling through the right hip. And we want to go till we feel a little bit of fatigue. You're going to feel a little fatigue in the left glutes. Can you reverse the circle? And then right leg out, right leg straight out behind you. Draw engage the glutes here. And then touch down with your right foot and just pulse or hold. So you're opening your right calf. Then inhale, the right leg up, straight out, and then touch it back down. And then again. Oh, there's a mama elk. I think she's pregnant. Inhale. Exhale, draw your knee in towards your chest. Inhale, sweep the right leg out. Exhale, come in towards your chest. By now, your left glute is probably firing pretty hard. And then the next time you reach the right leg long, set your right knee down and reach your hips back towards your heels, hands forward in puppy pose. Puppy pose for 1, 2 more breaths while I take my sweatshirt off. Great. And then from here, you'll slide the left knee forward. So you're in like a pigeon shape. And not fully into pigeon, but my shin is kind of underneath my thigh. I'm just going to rock a little bit back and forth. And then back to table and cat-cow. Okay, here we go, other side. So it does help to bring the right knee in a little bit, but now we start by circling the left knee out. Left knee is bent and we're circling around. A big circular motion with the left hip joint. And the opposite direction. Right, then reach the left leg long and touch your toes down and pulse or hold and open up the left calf. Inhale. Exhale, touch down. Inhale. Exhale, touch down. Engage the glutes. Next time your left leg is out behind you, stretched out behind you, exhale and bring your knee into your chest. Inhale, release, out, straight behind you. Exhale, in towards your chest. Pretty soon the right glutes are going to be fired up. Good, then both knees down, reach your hips back towards your heels, hands forward, puppy pose. And then as you inhale and come up, sweep the right knee forward. So you're kind of resting on your right shin and just a little back and forth. A little relief there in the hip musculature. Then back to table. Inhale to cow. Exhale, forearms to the floor, child's pose. Inhale to cow. Exhale, forearm, press your back up towards the sky, towards the ceiling, forearms to the floor, child's pose. Next, inhale, sweep your arms up overhead, come up onto your knees. And then float the hands down, turn your toes under. Options here. You might have to put a block between your heels and your hips if your toes, your bottoms of your feet are really tight like mine. Or you could go right back to sitting on your heels. See if you can get all 10 toes under. All 10 toes under. Woo! Lordy, lordy. And we'll stay for another minute. Interlace hands, fingers, reach your arms up, palms up towards the ceiling. Draw your shoulder blades down and in. Try to pull your fingers apart, but resist that as well. And then let your hands float down as you come forward, removing the block if you have it. Tops of your feet to the floor. Give a little bang there. Releasing any tension in the feet. And then turn the toes under once more and come up to downward facing dog. Right, from downward facing dog, we'll walk the feet up towards the hands, setting your feet right underneath your hips, setting the hips back then for Utkatasana chair pose. And then press up to standing, arms overhead. Might be a little dizzy. Take your time, exhale, let the arms float down. So now you find yourself in Tadasana and find that alignment where the soft palate is lined up over the respiratory diaphragm, over the pelvic bowl, and the pelvic bowl, our feet are stacked right underneath there. Okay, just inhale and sweep the arms up. And notice if any of that alignment wants to change. Exhale, float down. Inhale, sweep the arms up. And exhale, let the arms float down. Inhale, sweep the arms up and come up onto your toes. Aha. And exhale, let everything float down. So now things are going to get a little trickier, right? When doing this balance. So inhale, try to keep all that alignment the same. Exhale, float the arms down. Inhale, sweep the arms up. And exhale, float the arms down. So each inhale, you're coming up on your toes. And on the exhale, you let everything come back down. Okay, then take a wide stance. You're going to need your block at the front of your mat, which is going to be the right foot first. So take a wide stance and turn your turn your right toes out so that your front foot is lined up with the long edge of your mat. Now, left heel goes out. Now, what happens to the pelvis? It's got to follow the front leg. Okay, so it follows the front leg. So let's find warrior two by just dropping into that front knee, and we'll extend the front leg. So remember, as you press isometrically the front foot forward, that's going to allow you to weight the back foot as well. And we're concerned here with seeing, what's my pelvis doing? What is my pelvis doing? We want the pelvis to follow the front leg. So what can commonly happen is the knee turns in, you're trying to line up your pelvis with the long edge of your mat. You don't want that. So here we are, warrior two. Warrior two. Good. Inhale, reach, stretch forward, and exhale, forearm to your front thigh, extended side angle. Inhale, straighten the front leg and let your hand land where it will for Trikonasana. And the pelvis is still following the front leg. Inhale to slide the top arm up. Just get a little taller in your triangle. Exhale, come back to warrior two. Inhale, reach forward, forearm to thigh, extended side angle. Notice if you've lost contact with the back foot, isometrically press the front foot forward and see if you can load the back foot so they're evenly weighted. Evenly weighted. Inhale, extend the front leg straight, hand lands where it lands, Trikonasana, and then slide the top arm up, extend your Trikonasana, feel a nice long stretch, the left side body. Inhale here, and then exhale, come back to warrior two. Now inhale as you straighten the front leg and turn your foot, arms come overhead. Now both feet are parallel to one another and legs, pelvis, right, aiming forward towards the long edge of your mat. Exhale, let your arms float down. Good. Pick up the left foot, toes out, heel in, line up with the long edge of your mat, turn your right heel out. Notice if your pelvis is following your front leg. That's what we want. We want the pelvis to be turned slightly towards the front leg. So knee, you can bend that knee, just hands on hips. We find those warrior two legs. And then we find warrior two. Inhale to reach with the left hand. Exhale, forearm to the thigh. And extended side angle. And as you inhale, you sweep the top arm, front leg comes straight, hand to the thigh or the shin, maybe your ankle, but we want the pelvis following the front leg. And then slide your right hand up a little bit so that you're extending your triangle nice and tall. Inhale here, exhale, float on back down, warrior two. Settle. Put some pressure against the imaginary wall underneath your hands. Inhale to reach forward with the front hand. Exhale, forearm to thigh, extended side angle. Inhale, straighten the front leg. Front hand comes to the thigh or the shin, and then we'll sweep the top arm up. Make your triangle a little taller. Your front leg is trying to externally rotate, back leg trying to internally rotate. So the pelvis is turned a little bit towards the front leg. Good. Inhale to come back into warrior two. Exhale, settle. And then inhale, straighten the front leg, turn both feet, arms overhead. Now the pelvis lines up again with the legs underneath and everything lined up in your spine. Let your arms float down to your sides. Great. Let's do the whole sequence again on the first side. So you can pick up the right heel, set it down, pick up the right toes, turn them out. Get that alignment of the foot correct first. Hopefully your knee is lined up somewhere over the center of your foot. And hopefully your pelvis is turned a little bit towards that front leg. Find your warrior two, strong warrior two legs. And then arms out. Inhale, reach forward. Set your forearm down on your thigh, extended side angle. Inhale, sweep the top arm. Straighten the front leg, Trikonasana. Slide the top hand up, a little taller Trikonasana. And then come back, warrior two. Inhale, reach forward. Come to extended side angle on the exhale. pressing into the back heel, keeping that front leg with the knee pointing over the toes, pelvis is turned. Inhale, straighten the front leg, hand comes to the front leg, Trikonasana, and reach your Trikonasana up a little higher. Sweeping the arms back, come back to warrior two. Press into that imaginary wall with your hands. Inhale, straighten the front leg, turn both feet to be parallel. Exhale, hands float through heart center. Okay, hands on hips, pick up the front toes. Pick up the front heel, that's a little easier. Swivel it in, pick up the front toes, swivel them out. Find your warrior two front leg. As you bend through that front leg, pressing into the back heel, and then the hip follows the direction of the front leg, right? The pelvis, rather. So we're turned slightly towards the front of the mat. Warrior two. Inhale, reach. Exhale, forearm to the thigh. Extended side angle. Inhale, sweep. Top arm up. Bottom hand on the thigh or the shin. And then stretch it up a little bit. Windmill the arms out, back to warrior two. Inhale, reach forward. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, straighten the front leg. Trikonasana. Slide that top arm up. Nice tall Trikonasana. Windmill through, come down into warrior two again. And then inhale, sweep the arms up, turn both legs. Both feet are parallel. And let your hands float down to center. Good. Heel toe the feet in just a bit. And then turn the toes out, right? And line your thighs up with your feet for goddess. Line your thighs up with your feet. Keep your back as straight as possible as you drop down into goddess. Hands could be a prayer. Hands can be on your thighs. And we'll flow with this. So we'll inhale, reach up with the arms and come into star. Exhale, hands come through heart center. Drop the hips down and come into goddess. Now you can sit a little deeper if you want. All right, you can sit a little deeper if you want. Sounds like a chainsaw party, doesn't it? I think they're working on the road, down the road a little ways. They're clearing trees. So next time we come down, let's hold this for count of 30. You can pulse it if you want. Not quite there yet. You got it. Feel those strong glutes, strong quads. And from here, we'll straighten back up. Heel toe in a bit. Circle the hips in one direction. And circle the hips in the opposite direction. Okay, shake it out, bounce your heels, walk around your space. Let's go for a balance. Obviously, if you want to use anything for your balance, you can. I'm going to use a block today because I feel like it helps me to really feel the glutes working on the standing leg. So I'll start by putting my left foot up on the block. You don't have to use a block, but as I stand up and draw that left hip in, or like really engage the left glutes, I really feel the work of my glutes. right? So I'm going to stand up on the block, maybe hover the feet, really engaging the left glutes, and then right foot to my calf, could come to the inner thigh, hands to prayer. Now, can you find that same alignment? Soft palate over respiratory diaphragm over pelvic bowl, and my standing leg right underneath my pelvic bowl. Lift my right knee up in the air and go for a little bit. We're going to try going for a little bit of an airplane ride. And then back. And then back to tree. Step off, bounce your heels, shake it out. Got the little wrens all around here. Great. I'll try the other side. This is my leg. It's gonna get surgery. Right foot on the block, step up, hover. If you're not using the block, just come on to maybe set your left foot on your right, on top of your right foot. If you've used the block, really feel the engagement of your outer hip, and then left foot comes to the left, to the right calf or the inside of the thigh. Really, standing leg is nice and engaged. Find that good alignment still. So this is the work of the body and the brain, you know, our mind. Like when I shift positions, when something comes up, how do I recalibrate? Left knee comes up. I'm going to try to take a little airplane ride. So just pitching forward, kind of like a warrior 3 sort of pose, right? Strong standing leg. Whoopsie doopsie. And then knee back forward. And find tree again. Murakasana. And release. Step down, shake it out, walk around your mat, bounce your heels, walk around your mat. Okay, we'll go back to Tadasana. Go back to Tadasana. And then from about the middle of your mat, step your right foot forward and your left foot out. Now here we are in Warrior 1. So where are the hips? So the front leg is setting up. My hip pointer is lined up with my knee, is lined up with my toe box. But I'm not turned all the way to the front of the mat. I'm kind of aiming a little bit at an angle towards the left corner of the mat. Inhale to reach your arms up. Exhale, fold down, hands around the front leg, shift your hips back, come back, downward facing dog. Draw the kneecaps up, 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 up. And spin the triceps down towards the floor. Inhale to walk your feet up towards your hands. Halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Bend the knees, set the hips back. Come through Utkatasana. Press up to standing. And let the arms float down. Weight is into the left foot as you step the right foot back. Find Warrior 1 on this side. And again, it is the hip pointer is following the knee And the knee is lined up over the center of the foot, but my hips are more at an angle than they are turned to the front of the mat because I've got my legs doing different things, right? So here we go. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands down around the front foot to the mat. Slide your hips back, release the front foot, downward facing dog. Okay. Then we'll come forward, just rocking forward into high dandasana and back. High dandasana and back. Couple more times, really loading. We always want to keep loading the wrists, loading the arms. We got a hand class coming up next week, I think. Good, then knees to the floor and lower down, knees, chest, chin, right down to the floor. Make a little pillow with your hands, resting your forehead on the pillow. Tops of your feet stretched out on the mat. Let's just inhale and exhale about 10 to 12 times here. Just a little baby back bend. Great. Once you've done 10 repetitions, 12 repetitions, arms alongside your body, forehead to the floor. Lift your shoulder tops away from the floor. Lift your hands up towards the ceiling. Lift your head and shoulders. Lift your legs. 3, 2, 1. Bend your elbows. Set your hands down at your low ribs. Press through table and hips back. Puppy pose. All right, both hands over to the right. Through center and over to the left. Back to center. Back to table. Turn toes under. Press up and back. Downward facing dog. So nice, even standing here. Bring the feet a little closer to the hands. Bend through your knees. See if you can get your heels all the way down to the floor. Right hand to the outside of the left leg and then straighten that leg and come into a little twist. Press firmly with the left hand. Release. Bend through the knees again. Left hand to outer right leg, outer right thigh, outer right ankle, and straighten the right leg. Little twist. Release both hands to the floor. Then walk your feet a little closer to your hands and come into a squat. So options always to sit on a block in your squat. If you can come into a squat with your elbows inside your knees, squeezing your knees into your elbows and pressing your elbows back into your knees. And a little engagement, just a little engagement. So you're trying to lift up away from the floor, but you know, you're being pulled down as well. Back nice and straight. Opening here for the hips. And then from here, you just set your booty down onto the floor. Coming into option here, you can come into Sukhasana, or you can come into the Agni Asana, the fire pose. So you're either going to have your left foot tucked into your groin, or you're going to have it stacked over your right knee and your right foot underneath your left knee. Now, there's a little space here you can see maybe in my body, so I can put a block there. And then it's a bit of a forward fold so you can feel this stretch in your hips. Maybe not much of a forward fold, and some of us maybe can come all the way over. It's different bodies, right? Different bodies. Different bodies, different capabilities. Very good. Unwind that. Take the second side, maybe more availability there in terms of space. I'm still going to have a block underneath my top knee. And again, you could be in Sukhasana. Just getting a little hip release here. Keep my back pretty upright as I hinge at the waist. Good, everybody, good. Then come out of that. Take your block, set it over to the side, and now just a little windshield wiper. And you sort of have to, as you windshield wiper, you kind of have to adjust the pelvis, sort of, so you don't scooch on your mat. Then into Dandasana. So Dandasana, you know, Tadasana legs, toes are pulled back towards shins, pelvis, knees, ankles, toes, right, all lined up. And hands could be behind you here. You might be able to rest your hands on your lap. If you do go forward, do that with a little hinge and keep your back nice and neutral. Just really feel both the strength, the stability of your hub, and how that allows you to express out and out. So pulling energy from the earth, pulling energy from the sky, putting that energy back into the earth, expressing the energy and love out. The hub, so important. The structural hub, I would say. The spiritual hub might be someplace else, but structural hub. And then we slide butt towards feet, lower down slowly to the ground, and anything else that you need before you settle into your Shavasana. So just allow yourself to be moved by what wants to happen. Maybe it's a long cat stretch again. Another twist. Maybe you're just ready to settle in. Always an option to go legs up the wall or on some furniture. Find that youth come to your practice again with the intention of knowing more and doing better, knowing more about body, knowing more about yourself. Finding a deeper connection. You can go back to that really subtle pelvic tilting where you finally settle. So just remember who you are. Remember as you move out away from practice today, what really matters to you. Let your actions come from that. Namaste.